Yeah, 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 yeah.
Hey, yo, Pluto.
Yeah.
Going crazy.
Diddy.
Let that shit ride.
Emotionally
88.
caged with nobody here to help. Living life on life terms, playing with cards that life dealt. Robbed in front of my kids, can't explain how that felt. Swimming in these deep waters, I feel like I'm Mike Phelps. Emotionally caged with nobody here to help. Living life on life terms, playing with cards that life dealt. Robbed in front of my kids, can't explain how that felt. Swimming in these deep waters, I feel like I'm Mike Phelps. Yeah, 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 yeah. Lost a lot of niggas to the street life. I guess that's why mama told me, been before the street lights. Come on out of police lights, they won't chase me right. Remember hustling nicks and dimes just to keep my feet right. Homies dying every day, beef come from every way. Had to grab a Glock to
We can step, slide, and rock to the rhythm, put your body on me. Baby, let's groove. We can spin a little. Buddy, man, it's money. My bad. I double back, hit it twice. We're all night. Strong is right. See, I don't even need the lights. My pipe game so right. We're all night. No Superman, I'm alright. I'm in this vibe, right? In this vibe, right? I'm in this vibe, right? And baby pirate, right? And baby doing me right like this right here, lil' vibe. Sit back, smoke it high. Be sure. You might say insecure, I say trusted.
Good morning.
What? Man, oh no, I'm gonna do you like you do everybody else when they come up in here. No, this the Rise and Grind morning show. You can't.
Everyone, those be safe on the road, those that's virtually learning, those are morning grinders.
Yes, good morning, grinders.
And Leah got a whole vibe today, so I'm just trying to catch your vibe.
Oh,
Yeah,
thank
I'm
you.
just trying to catch and we're gonna ride with sometimes
You wanna know what my vibe has been lately?
What's your vibe? We sit in the passenger seat with Leah Renee.
It's the God in me. It's the God in me.
Okay then.
It's the God in me.
So you done had a what they call a spiritual
Awakening. Not even awakening, but a refreshment. You know?
Yeah, and ain't nothing like a refill.
Mm-hmm.
And that's pretty dope too, that you can, you got a refill, you got a fresh start, and just what is that when a hangover, a spiritual hangover.
Yes.
So I take it you had a great Sunday service.
Yes, every Sunday is always amazing at Greater New Psalmist Church.
One of our proud sponsors in the Rise and Grind Morning Show, presented to you by the Hot Box and Lima Humidop Substance and Treatment Recovery. So when you say that, it's the God in me this week, and when we challenge with some of the things we do, we find some way to perk us up, and you found that perk up, huh? You found that refresher.
Yeah, because, I say this I talk.
Our executive intern and Dr. Vic, Dr. Finance, and Leah, this is just a really great season to be in. I was thinking about the timing of this. This, with the love that we have gotten from our viewers, our listeners, those that support us, we are on the brink of edge of doing something that nobody else is doing.
Yeah.
Especially with the live camera. And we're creating a network. Like you said on your live, you saw one of our good friends with Cloth Talk, RC.
Yes.
We got a whole network of shows that nobody else is doing in the network.
Lineup. And if you don't like one show, if you don't like my show, you gonna like RC's show.
Bro,
if you don't
nothing
like,
but nest, self-explanatory.
Whatever, you take your pick.
And that's what's so dope because we're not of youth and young adults.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's and using us as a pilot for that, I think that's gonna be very huge, Leah.
Yeah, absolutely. We definitely said she's gonna be coming back on here. We want to be that platform for her to get information out and to reach the younger generation, reach the youth.
And everybody wants to do it. And we got a great show today.
Yes, absolutely. We have another great body coming in.
What? And the way the polls and things, people are meeting at the polls today. It's going to be, there's a really good chance. So don't go nowhere. But Leah, while people are standing at the polls, What's the weather and traffic like?
Yeah, I mean, it's a great day to get out there and do that early
To stand out there for 2 hours?
I mean, yes, because the weather is amazing. When I stepped out of the house this morning, we've been talking about that brisk morning air, but this morning it was like a spring type of air is what I felt like anyway. And it's 61 degrees currently. It's a little cloudy still, but it'll be sunny this evening. It's like tell people about our show and to try to tell them to tune in. And this morning I stopped at Stop and Go right there on Door and Secor. I want to say shout out to my girl Kayla and the other young lady who was working there. I didn't catch her name, but I was telling them about the show, and Kayla was like, can y'all play my music? I said, yep, we sure can. You send it to info@the419grind.com and we will definitely get your music on. So shout out to them because they're probably listening right now.
That's why we the number one, Leah.
Yeah.
That's why we and expect the unexpected. We gonna say some things that you wasn't ready for. It's gonna be some things that we wasn't ready for. And so you gotta be ready for this all new Rise and Grind morning show. It is a straight vibe this morning. Again, if you are hearing the sounds of our voice, hit the share and the love button. Just for those that say, gotta say good morning to Reese. Gotta give a good morning to Jesse. Just hit the love button, y'all. Just hit some love and the like and the share button because you didn't have to see today. And this is Work It Out Wednesday. So whatever you got to work it out, we're going to work it out. We also hoping to see our good friend in the studio, DJ Breezy.
Yes.
But Leah, so what's some of the things that's off the top? I was listening to the Ricky Smiley morning show this morning. And what I didn't know, that our president has the ability to appoint, elect our federal judges, okay? Our appellate judges, our big judges across the country, all right? When he makes those selections, that's why they are so they're so hesitant on why he's looking to choose a Supreme Court judge right now, because they sit in those seats for the rest of their lives.
Wow. That's like a lifetime commitment.
That's a lifetime commitment. And those judges, from the appellate to the district to the federal, makes the decisions on so many other cases when we see the incarceration, wrongly convicted, and they send those appeals to the judges and they don't get out. So people are really nervous that Donald Trump, and I say that because that he has put more judges in position than any other judge since he's been in that seat of power since Jimmy Carter. He has appointed over 100-something judges that rise the fate of me and you.
Yeah.
And so people are nervous.
And we know what his agenda looks like and what his thoughts are.
But it's not him though. It's him putting people in positions to make decisions on your life and my life.
Right, but I'm saying those people obviously probably share the same thoughts and beliefs as him. That's what makes it so scary.
And even if they don't share the same thoughts, I thought about that, but you don't ever really forget those that gave you a plug, right?
Yeah.
He hooked them up.
Yeah.
So they're going to be forever kind of grateful to, you gave me this opportunity. I don't want to mess that up. Just like with Jesse. Just like we always talk about with some of the walks that we had. The Juice, WTLO. We got a little soft spot for them because they gave us opportunity.
Absolutely.
So what do you think these judges who will spend the rest of me and your lifetime?
They're going to feel forever indebted, with him.
So making decisions.
Yeah.
And that's why it is so important that when you sit in the seat of power, I like what Councilwoman McPherson said. She said it's about the team.
Yes.
So even if you have those thought processes, right, and they may not be agreeable with me, I'm still willing to take in consideration and say, well, it wasn't my team thought about that. That's why it's so important, because Leah,
that's where that phrase comes, taking one for the team. Sometimes you got to take one for the team.
Not the interest of the justice system?
Well, not the interest of yourself. You know what I mean? Like, not in the interest of yourself, but in the interest of the team. You know what I mean?
No, I don't. Explain.
Well, I'm just saying, like, we were talking about being a part of a team. And like how she was saying, when, people tell her she's in a position of leadership or power or whatever. And she's like, well, no, this is about, I have a team behind me. She recognizes that it's not about it's about the team, and I can't do anything really without my team, without the backup and support of my team. So take one for the team. Sometimes you got to put your thoughts and your feelings and your beliefs, to the side, your emotions, everything else, to collectively as a team
absolutely
come up with the same common goal and the same, and accomplish that goal.
And that's so interesting that you say that, Leah, because again, just because you have the power don't mean you can't listen to your team.
Exactly.
Do you know it feels good when your team eats with you, or a decision is made that somebody helped you and they like, wow, he used what I said.
Right.
And we acknowledge them.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
That's a big part of winning.
Yes, absolutely.
So I just saw that and they were talking about that because Donald Trump has appointed more judges than any other president in history. And again, these judges sit in these seats for 40 plus years, a lifetime. So your kids will have the same justices until they are in their 30s and 40s. And what kind of demand? So when they were talking about, and the reason why that came up is because they were talking about if you do not vote, which we are encouraging right here on All New Rise&Grind Morning Show. Vote,
yes.
vote.
Yes,
get your ass up and vote.
Make sure you get out and vote. And today is a beautiful day to do it.
Vote. Now you done woke me up because.
Oh no, go ahead.
No, go ahead. And it's just so huge that we don't miss this mark of not voting.
Yes, we can't. Like, it's so critical now more than.
Are you taking your kids with you to see the process? Are you at least your daughter?
I normally have one of my kids with me when I go vote anyway, just because I'm a single mom, and so normally it's one of them is with me. My son has been with me, I think, like the last few years because he's the younger one, so
okay.
He was, but my daughter, that's a good idea. I think I should do that.
And I'm glad because they see mom being a part of the process.
Yeah, I should make a point to take them both with me, and like you said, show them the whole process and explain to them why it's
mom
important.
is standing here.
Yeah.
Wow, so it's a teachable moment.
It is. And this was a teachable moment. Thank you.
Well,
my
thank
brethren.
you. Because I'm going to try it too. So,
shout out to all our listeners and viewers. Shout out to another one of our sponsors, Dr. Hall. He says, I love my team, the power of the team. George Berna is a great book to read about teamwork. So yes, TJ Johnson, I want to send a special shout out to him and special love to him because he wasn't tuned in yesterday. He was dealing with some challenges in his life. Wow. He lost a child, and yesterday was the day of that. And so we're sending special love to you, TJ, and
hit
special
the heart
prayers.
buttons for our brother and your brother.
We love you.
He's
we
a
want
grinder.
You to know that
hit
we
the
are
heart
behind
button.
you. We have support for you, and we just thank you for always tuning in and showing special love. So I'm sending special love and prayers to you, TJ. Mir, Deidre Brown.
What up, Deidre?
Krista Sue.
Oh, I can't stand him.
Who else we got on here? My girl Ashley. Hey girl. Carla, Vonda, Eldon, Kendra. Hey girl. Mike Wells. Shout out to everybody who tunes in every single day and listens, man. We love it.
Thank y'all so much. TJ, there's no words. Please share this. Share this for the life of our young folks and our babies. TJ, there's no words that we can say. There's nothing that we can really do in terms of just really comfort you, as Leah has kind of mentioned. Thank you, Leah, for sharing that story. So those that's listening, we have a brother on here that is tuning in, rising and grinding with us, but also have a heavy heart because and a mental heaviness of losing a child.
Yes.
So T, putting our arms around you, big trees, big.
Big
you see
love.
that big hug?
Look, this is a hug to you, TJ. I love you.
Give you one of them in the church hugs when they get to patting you on your back. Or baby, I know, TJ. Oh, and they get to rubbing your shoulder. I'm rubbing you, TJ, man.
Yes.
And rubbing your family and
yes.
Your child's mom.
Yes, absolutely.
So,
absolutely.
Peace and strength in the days ahead. But Leah, yes, we got a great show.
Yes.
Grinders, what's up? Hit the love button, hit the like, hit the shares. We will be voted the #1 podcast in the country right here in the Toledo City Paper. If you get a minute when we go on break, go to Toledo City Paper. Put it in your search engine. Go to media, best local podcast, as well as best anchor duo, Leah Renee.
Yes.
And that boy, Mr. Hear Me.
Yes.
Big trees. And again, as we win, you win. As we don't lose. One thing we talk about, Leah, we don't lose, we learn. And we learn every day. We're learning things about each other. We're learning things about our grinders. I love the season of learning, Leah.
Yes. Student of life. We have to learn every single day.
RC coined that too.
Yes, RC. I'm sorry. I keep taking your saying, and but Trees keeps saying RC coined that, and you did, and it stuck with me. Like, that's so true. We have to be students of life. We can never think that we know it all or that we got it all figured out, because we do not. So, I'm all about learning every day, meeting new people, creating new relationships, networking. That's what this thing is all about.
Absolutely. And Leah, it's such a beautiful ride when you know that you can learn.
Yes.
And you don't have to know it all.
Yes.
And when you don't know it all, be strong enough to say, I don't know.
Yes.
And be strong enough to say, I need some more information. Leah, I sit in some rooms and some conversations, and it's not to respond because I don't know.
Right.
But as I take the information back and listen, have you been in situations like that?
Listen, I just, I had a kind of like a situation like that where it's, what we say, it's about having integrity, because you never know who's watching you. You never know who's listening, especially this platform now that we're on. And like I said, this weekend I met, Bishop Joseph Hall Jr., who's now tuning in, listening, Louisiana in the house.
Hey!
And he was like, he stopped me and was like, are you Leah? And I was like, yes, I am. And he was like, oh yeah, da-da-da-da-da-da-da. And so I just was like, oh my God, like, and so he's tuning in and he's watching and listening. And the point is we don't ever know who's watching us, who's listening to us. We don't know who we're influencing on a everyday basis. And we're on a platform where we are influencers. So you have to always be on your A game, always.
And I heard a saying one time, say, you never know what you look like till they take a picture.
That's right.
Those people that be sitting in their car digging in their nose, they don't think nobody be seeing that. We be seeing you digging in your nose. So you never know what you look like until they take a picture. Leah, this is the all-new Rise and Grind morning show presented to you by Hotbox and Lima Humadab, the Joshua Treatment Center. We got to go to a break. We got great music. Want to thank all those that have sent in music. Got to say what's up to Mark White and Nate Hicks. Don't go nowhere. It's the all-new Rise and Grind morning show. And when we come back, it's Work It Out Wednesday.
Yes.
Work it. Oh, work it.
Girl
Work
in the
it.
building.
Work It Out Wednesday, the all-new Rise and Grind morning show.
If you're tired of church as usual and you're looking for something invigorating, exciting with passion, then the Greater New Psalmist Baptist Church, 3251 Glendale, is the place for you. We are a people that's determined to occupy all streets while cultivating cultural change. The only thing's missing is you. Meet us at 3251 Glendale Avenue as we continue to be relevant and occupy all streets while cultivating cultural change.
Is Sandy Brown, owner of the Toledo Threat Basketball Organization, and I have some great news. The Toledo Threat are officially joining the 419 Grind podcast with our new show, Nothing But Net. On the show, you'll see athletes, coaches, and even community leaders who have nothing but net careers. Now, they may have hit a few bricks along the way, but with hard work and dedication, they're now seeing a consistent shot within their careers. You can catch us right here every Wednesday at 7 o'clock starting September 30th on the 419 Grind podcast. Until then, nothing but net.
And held on to the mystery of my love. You got the wrong one.
day and night. Can't stop thinking about what we can have. I make mistakes, boy, but that's the past. Now I need something that's gonna last. Something that's better than sex. It's better than cashing the check. I wanna get lost in your love. I hope that you're giving it back. Don't you have me out here looking stupid, cause I put my trust in Cupid. Fairy tales really don't exist anymore, but I got a fantasy for it. They say I lost my mind, but I can fantasize. Can I? Fairy tales really don't exist anymore, but somehow I still believe in it. You said it's a waste of time, but I can fantasize. Can I just want my night and it's shining on me. I'm your Cinderella, but time is not a problem, and I could be a queen. Just don't bring me no drama. Need you to be a king to take home to my mama. I know you see it in my eyes, baby. I promise that I'll never lie, baby. So I hope you ain't surprised, baby, by the way I fantasize. Fairy tales really don't exist anymore, but I got a fantasy for it. They say I lost my mind, but I can fantasize. Can I? Fairy tales really don't exist anymore, but somehow I still believe in it. You said it's a waste of time, but I can fantasize. Can I? Fairy tales really don't exist. But I can fantasize. Fairy tales really don't exist, but somehow I still believe in it. But I can fantasize.
No, I can't believe that you would do me so dirty. Hit the pause button right now and press rewind. Things replay in my mind about 1,000 times. Every red flag you show me is flying high. You got the wrong one. I'm so messed up in my head, I can't be sure. You might say insecure, I say trust issues. Now I'm moving different, say I'm acting new. You got the wrong one. You got me, and I can't help but wonder where would I be. Different from the start, and held on to the mystery of my love. You got the wrong one. If ignorance is bliss, then I'm naive, 'cause everything you tell me I believe. You know just what to say to get to me. You've got the wrong one. I blind myself with passion 'cause I got faith. We blame it on perception just to be safe, but that's a misconception. You're taking advantage and you've got the wrong one. You got me, and I can't help but wonder where would I be if I treated you different from the start and held on to the mystery of my love. You got the wrong one. down. You make me so happy, it's worth my while. I don't care what others have to say. Your love is the greatest gift that'll come my way. So it's so extraordinary, it's incredible. Something about the love you give, unexplainable. Can't imagine where I'd be if you let me go. Wrote this simple song to say, you make my soul. My soul glow. You make me feel so incredible. You're the source of my strength and the strength of my life. You make my soul glow. You are always there for me in my time of need. You pick me up when I fall. The dust off me. Had to take time to tell ya just what you mean. Without you in my life, I don't know where I'll be. It's so extraordinary. It's so extraordinary. Something about the love you give. Something about the love you give. Can't imagine life without it.
Yes, it feels so good to
Hey, y'all hear my backup
loved
singers.
by
It is the
you.
all-new Rise and
Yes, it
Grind
feels
morning
so
show presented to you by the 419. Health recovery. Try Lima Humidop. Give them a call. The hotline number is 1-888-728-2113. And just know that there is somebody there to aid and assist. And Hotbox Bistros is a proud sponsor of the all-new Rise and Grind morning show. This is Working Out Wednesday. I got next to me, and y'all can see her, I got the lovely long hair on fleek DJ
Yes.
Breezy. Y'all see her hustle, grind, and shine with Miss Leah Renee. And with Leah Renee is, we can go ahead and say it, y'all, the appointed and elected, let's say elected, Sheriff Earl Mack. Make some noise. It's a whole vibe. Okay. So, good.
Yep.
Leah.
Yeah.
And we got the sheriff in town. So whatever we got to work out,
Listen.
You better work it out.
He like, come on now, Trees.
Right.
we got the sheriff in town.
Sheriff, you got to deal with Trees because he's a lot.
Well, you know what? I like the hat. Like
Yeah,
that gave me the whole,
So-
you know,
See, they
like
can't see the hat.
Wait,
okay,
Sheriff,
okay.
grab his hat
Show
for
him
him.
the hat,
Give
Sheriff.
him the whole look.
Give him the whole look, Sheriff.
This is live, right? Hey.
Hey,
there we go. On top of it. Yep.
There we go.
Good morning, Mr. Earl Mack, Sheriff
Yes,
Earl
thank
Mack.
you
Good
for
morning.
coming in.
Good morning.
It's Wednesday. This is Work It Out Wednesday on the all-new Rise and Grind morning show. We are recording live on major platforms. This is the #1 urban podcast show in the country.
Okay.
Right here from the 419.
period.
Wow.
Period, Poe.
With two of the loveliest co-hosts in the podcast world.
There you go.
How you
Thank
feeling?
you.
How you feeling?
Oh, I'm feeling wonderful as a seasoned man. You know,
Okay.
that-
Wait,
I
did you
love
say
it.
season?
seasoned.
Okay.
You know, that's Treese's thing, too. He always says, what do you say, Treese?
I'm not a professional, but I am seasoned.
Yes. Okay.
So, what was the vibe when you came into the studio, Sheriff Mack? And we gonna coin that phrase. We gonna give it its due diligence. What was your vibe when you walked into the 419 Grind Studios? For those that's listening, those who want to be a part of this because they see you on here. What was the vibe?
A good one. I'm seasoned, and anytime a seasoned man can walk in, to such a lovely studio, that's a plus.
I love it.
And thank you for that because it
Thank you.
makes the morning. It helps us rise up in the morning.
Right. Rise and grind.
That's it.
Much love and appreciation to Miss Mack for allowing her to
Yes.
share you with us.
Yes.
Yep, that's my guiding force.
I know that's right.
Absolutely.
So, Sheriff, right now, as we see signs, billboards, I'm riding over on the east side of Toledo over the high-level bridge, and when you come over the high-level bridge, it's that big billboard sign. And this is about 11, 12 o'clock. Don't ask me, Sheriff, what I was doing. I was going to get to 7-Eleven. I was going to 7-Eleven.
Okay.
Bree. Yeah, that's my story, and I'm sticking to it.
All right.
I see a booming vote.
Okay.
Earl Mack, Lucas County Sheriff.
I mean, I'm seeing them all over the place.
How much did that cost? What was the cost of that, since we could talk money? Roughly, how much was it it was blaring too, and it's lit up with the LED lights. Like that is a blaring billboard as you come over the high-level bridge. What does something like that cost first?
Well,
Roughly. Paid for by
Earl Mack supporters.
Right.
Right.
Well, I don't really get into the financial portion of it. We have a lovely treasurer, Deborah, that takes care of all of that stuff.
Okay.
Yes.
All I want to know is, can we afford it? If we can afford it, then let's go for it.
Right.
Well, definitely y'all could afford it because you saw it, and it's been, as Leah and Bree said, you see the signs everywhere. Tell the viewers and the listeners, because we also are being heard right now on iHeartRadio, who is Earl Mack?
Well, Earl Mack is a person that was born and raised in this community, the city of Toledo. Obviously I grew up here, went to Gunko as an elementary school, LP Stewart.
Oh, you went to Gunko?
Wow.
Yes.
You was bad, Sheriff.
It's called Dukemo College.
That's what it was called?
Yeah.
Okay.
Back in the day. Went to LP Stewart when it was a boy-girl school. Watched that school being built twice. Graduated from Scott High School. Went to Libya and graduated from Scott High School. Was then drafted into the military. Became a combat medic in the military.
Wow.
After
Thank you for your service.
Thank you. After military service, then I got into law enforcement. Used my GI Bill to go, to school, to University of Toledo. Graduated.
Hey, Rocket.
There you go. Graduated from the University of Toledo, and then it started my law enforcement career of about 39 years, as being a University of Toledo police officer first. Went from there to being
Wait, you started as a UTPD?
I sure did.
Man, was you like the rest of these UTPD? Like, because them UTPD, they be tripping.
They
They
tough.
be tripping. Were you tough like they are nowadays? Because I didn't even know they've been around that long. First of all, I thought they just came into play a few years
Nah,
ago.
they just amped up. That's all they did.
Top flight police of the world.
UTPD don't play. Like,
They don't.
Was that how you used to be?
Well,
You
look,
set the tone.
right. All you students made us tough.
Okay.
Fact check.
Touche.
Fact check.
So, spent some time there, and then I became a liquor agent with the Ohio Department of Liquor Control. Was first stationed in Cleveland, and worked Cleveland for a number of years. Was undercover for about 6 years because back in those days we'd done a lot of narcotics and other kinds of things. And from there became a squad leader of two enforcement squads. From there, was the assistant agent in charge of Toledo enforcement operations. How much time we got?
You got all the
We
time.
wanna know.
We want to know. We want to hear this story. You see, we all tuned in.
Listen, all eyes on you.
And from there, I became the agent in charge of the Cincinnati enforcement operations.
What do they do?
Well, in those days, we done primarily liquor enforcement.
Okay.
Involving permit establishment, bars, carryouts, and those kinds of
Oh,
things.
we gonna expect the unexpected. You in here with that? Get ready.
Yeah, and we done tobacco enforcement as well as food stamps enforcement. And from there, I took a position, or I was I say anointed, but I was promoted to a position of acting deputy director of enforcement operations until they found a replacement. That was a political job, and I wasn't a political person back in those days. So I held that position for a while until they filled it. And then I was rewarded to come back home as the agent in charge of liquor, food stamp, and tobacco enforcement here in Toledo.
Okay.
And so I'd done 26 years there.
Wow.
And then after that's amount of time, I was anointed again, or I was given a position as the deputy director of Ohio Homeland Security, which came with a whole lot
Homeland Security?
Oh, correct.
Who do y'all look at over? Who y'all looking over for Homeland Security? For those that don't know, Sheriff.
Well, we were domestic, obviously. That job protected Ohio. I was over all critical infrastructure in Ohio. So those operations that if something happened to them as a result of a terrorist attack would cascade into shutting Ohio down or portions of Ohio down. So we protected about 9,000, a little bit over 9,000 critical infrastructures in Ohio, as well as the Fusion Center, which is our intelligence center, and that's where I got a lot of how can I say this, knowledge of how to work with different organizations, because it takes a collaborative effort, in that protection mission to protect our people in our state.
Wow,
Right.
did y'all hear that?
Yes.
From Gunko.
Yeah. Yeah.
Over all Ohio.
Yeah.
Right, yeah.
So, Leah, when you hear the walk of somebody who you have also served in the military,
Yeah.
and you heard his
Thank you for
journey,
your service.
Yeah. Thank you.
and he connected those resources, as he mentioned with his GI Bill and things of that nature, he connected them.
Mm-hmm.
And he took on a passion of law enforcement.
Mm-hmm.
And look at the doors, Bree, that opened up with that. What does that say? And y'all know y'all raising sons. And thank you for sharing.
Thank you.
Sharing that with us, Sheriff. What does that say that y'all can take back to your sons about getting in law enforcement? Before we get into the juicy stuff, but just knowing that, man, you can be a kid from Toledo and look how he's been at the highest level. And I'm sure you done work with a lot of administrations, government or
Absolutely. Good.
from presidential administrations and all.
Well, and I was once sit on the executive board of the JTTF, which is the Joint Terrorism Task Force for all of Northwest Ohio. So like I said, it came with a whole lot of other responsibilities to protect Ohio from terrorist attacks. That was domestic.
Right. Because a lot of people don't understand. They think terrorist attacks and assume like, oh, that wouldn't happen here.
Yeah.
And you you can't tell someone what state, what city, what house someone is planning. Everyone's mental health state and their viewpoints on things are different. And we could have we do have terrorists in our own state, let alone city.
Well, and in your own community. If you look at the definition of terrorism,
right?
Yes.
Exactly. Yeah.
And I believe it was there was a certain face that was associated with terrorism. So a lot of people just felt like, oh, you had to be a person of cloth or, a Muslim
right.
to be a terrorist. And
put a stigma, yeah.
Right. I always tell people you have to look at the Muir building in Oklahoma. Those were Americans that blew that building up that killed several hundred people.
Yes. Yeah. And that education factor is important.
Correct.
Because a lot of times, a lot of people wouldn't even think, it's just something we need to know.
Yeah.
And learn about.
Absolutely.
So now my question for you is, as an African American,
you heard that smack, did you?
Wait,
it's coming. Oh, that's the peppermint. That's
Bring it on.
So, with law enforcement and, with being an African American, there comes those challenges because a lot of people, I'm pretty sure sometimes they look at the name and don't even picture an African American in the position that you hold. So how would you say, or what would be your advice for, other African American men, even say for instance, my son, who has always had an interest in becoming a police officer, with seeing everything that's been going on, with law enforcement versus the community, shall I say. So what advice would you have for young men or young women of color who are looking or who have thought, at one point in time, that they've always wanted to be in law enforcement or be a police officer, but then they're also seeing these other challenges that, are facing our community at this time?
Sure. Well, and that's a tall order here.
Okay.
But I always say, let me start out by saying, if we're going to change the system, we have to change it within.
Yeah.
Correct.
We can march, we can do all these kinds of things, but if you don't have anybody inside of the system,
right,
to help make those changes, it's extremely difficult. So I always tell our young people, if you want to see change, make yourself a roadmap, a roadmap to get to where you want to go. And
right.
A lot of it involves education. It involves respect, because I always say respect is number one. You respect yourself, then you can respect others, and you can respect that path that you need to take to law enforcement. So the first thing I'll say, just make a pathway to get into law enforcement, to keep climbing the ladder. I went from a street agent to lower level supervision, to mid-level supervision, to top level supervision, all the way to a deputy director of Ohio Homeland Security. It didn't come without some roadmap and some guidance. And I always say too, to attach yourself to those folks that are positive.
Yes.
Because I always say this too, and Montrese here, we say it all the time. Sometimes we can eat so much negative, we become negative.
Yes.
And so we need to stay above that and stay positive. And believe me, every level I climb, I didn't get to those levels because I didn't have to deal with racism or bigotry.
Correct.
We had to deal with that on every level. But I had a focus. My focus was this goal of mine. I wanted to be this, and everything around it just helped me get stronger to get there.
Correct.
But respect was the number key.
And you know what, the one thing that you said that stood out was respect yourself.
Sure.
How it has to start with self first. And a lot of times that's something that in our community, and I don't want people to feel like, oh, well, 419 Grind is always talking about, the black community. But unfortunately, our community suffers a lot, and we just deal with different struggles.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Where we have to ourselves teach our own and get a different mind frame, because others don't take that time out to teach us that, because they don't understand the struggles, they don't go through the same things, and a lot of times we don't. Our children, our youth, they don't look at the respect factor. Like, respecting yourself goes so far.
Yeah.
Like, if you don't respect yourself, you're not going to respect, you won't even understand what respect is.
Yeah, and when you don't respect yourself, it shows. People see that. They don't want to be affiliated with you. They don't want to be involved with you.
Yep.
The only thing they are going to do is, if they're a person who, doesn't care about you or mean you well, or if they're a bad person, they're just going to use you for whatever they can get out of you,
Yeah, or write you off.
Or write you off. So, yeah, you have to respect yourself first and foremost. I definitely heard that. What I heard outside of respect is key is you talked about the grind. I mean, you didn't say those words, but this is what we talk about here at the Rise and Grind Morning Show. We talk about it so much, is that grind. You know, you can't get to, you didn't just wake up one morning and become, you know, this man that sits before us today. You had to get down there. You had to go through those struggles. You had to take those jobs you didn't always want to take. You had to be disciplined and go to work on days you didn't want to go to work, you know, and networking. That's what I heard you say. I mean, you didn't use that word particularly, but networking.
But that's what,
you know,
that's what he said.
You have to get people around you who are positive, who are doing what you're trying to do. You know, like, you want people around you who are already doing and are already in those places where you're trying to go. So if you're, you know, I say it all the time, I want to be the dumbest person in the room. You know what I mean? I want everybody around me to be smarter than me so I can continue to learn and grow. And, you know, you stuck in there, you stayed through that grind, and, you know, all these years later, you've built a really great and successful career. So it's important that we know that whatever we do, there's going to be a grind. You have to have that determination, that self-discipline, and you have to just have, like you said, have that goal. And no matter what, by any means necessary, I'm going to accomplish this goal.
Yes.
Absolutely. And we need to get back to teaching our kids the value of life.
Yes.
Well. Because you know, if you can do the sort of things that we all see that's happening in our community to each other, you don't value that life. And so we need to get back to valuing life.
Yes, absolutely.
Respect is so big. What one of my football players just kind of bringing that conversation of respect. You have to focus on your mission and not the conditions. That's what I heard you say.
That's powerful.
You stayed on your mission. No, you didn't worry about what clothes you had on, what leadership was in front of you, what obstacles. You stayed focused on your mission. So that's the professional, the philanthropy person of Earl Mack. Who was the family man of Earl Mack?
Oh, man, how much time you got to give?
But no, speak to that, because this is what this is. This isn't necessarily about where we're going once you're elected as sheriff, but who is Earl Mack? Who was the family man of Earl Mack?
Well, as you know, I love,
because this expect the unexpected, because this is a powerful piece.
Yes.
I love family, and family is the key to whatever we do.
Oh, we got a caller.
They want to know, so we're going to get straight to it, so don't go nowhere with that moment. Right now, we got callers already that's calling in. Hey, thank you for calling the all-new Rise and Grind Morning Show with DJ Breezy, Leah Renee, and will be elected Sheriff of Lucas County, Earl Mack. Vote, vote, vote. Who do we have the pleasure to be on the line with us this morning?
This is retired Chief of Police Brian Hatfield. I live in Oregon right now.
Yeah. What?
Wow.
Good morning.
Good morning. Thank you for tuning in and calling in.
Thanks, you guys. Good morning, Matt Earl. How's it going?
Oh, it's going well, man. You know, thanks to the folks like you. But look, I want to hear what you got to say.
Yes, me too.
Thank you for grinding with us too this morning.
Yes.
That's all right. That's all right, my brothers and sisters. Anyway,
I love it.
So, listen, I worked with this man, Mr. Earl Mack. It's been a long time ago, but in a galaxy far, far away. But he is quite a man, I'll tell you. I learned a lot from him as a young chief of police, and you know, it takes three things to be a good police officer: a badge, a gun, and a heart.
Yes,
and if you don't have a heart, the other two don't mean a darn. So
that's powerful.
You know, in fact, there was a time when police officers just had a badge and a heart and didn't even have a gun to do their job. Imagine that.
Wow.
You know, I mean, you have to forget that you have a gun. You have to be compassionate. You have to reach across to somebody or reach out to somebody and say, and that's what Mr. Mack does. That's what the next sheriff of Lucas County does.
Yes.
Because he's not there for himself. He's not there to get, more retirement credits, or I'm sorry, did I say that out loud? He's not there for, he's there for the people of Lucas County. Everyone and everything. He's there for. He cares.
Wow,
ladies and gentlemen, and this is unrehearsed. I didn't know. It just popped up on my
yes,
Facebook.
Sir.
Yes, I love that.
Earl, I expect my check in the mail. Laugh. No, seriously, he's just a great guy. He really is. I got disabled 10 years ago, and he came to see me, and
Wow.
you know, it just, yeah. So we're brothers from another mother.
I love that. I love it.
Chief, we thank you.
Yes.
It's one of those things, Mr. Earl, that when you hear someone call in, a former police chief that we didn't even know was checking in on the show, thank you for grinding. It's one of those I approve this message.
Yes, absolutely.
That's right.
Yep.
All right, you guys take care.
No. Hold on one second. Hold on one second.
Me off. Okay, go ahead.
Hold on 1 second.
You're not getting thrown off.
Mr. Mack, when you get a phone call like this, and he's calling in on the studio saying what you have done for his life, but what he see you as a leader and a potential seat of power. What does that say, Mr. Mack, when you get a police chief calling in on the podcast, on the #1 podcast though in the country, on iHeart?
Correct. Well, it makes me just humbled, man.
Yes.
You know, and honored to have, you know, a career that has affected so many people. And I just want to say too, along with that heart comes empathy and compassion.
Yes.
Right.
And so and the chief has that. We worked together in the past. We've done some things, but we've done it with empathy and compassion.
Yes.
And we talk about law enforcement, chief, and the chief make an answer to this. I hate a lot of times hearing, you know, we're law enforcement officers. We're peace officers.
Yes.
Peace officers.
Right.
That
That's
means
right.
a whole lot
That's
more
right.
than law enforcement. We're
That's
the
right.
peace.
Amen.
Yep.
And that's the way we've always been titled in Ohio as peace officers.
Correct.
And I taught at the main academy in London, Ohio. And guess what I taught?
What you teach, Chief?
Ethics.
Ethics.
I taught ethics.
I think some people don't know that that's being taught. You know?
They won't even let me come back.
Wow.
There's gotta be something wrong.
Yeah.
I don't know if they've cut back in teaching ethics, or I don't know if come on, are you kidding me? I'm not bald yet, but I'm pulling my hair out.
Well, if you're looking at the show live and looking on it streaming on YouTube, I don't have no hair, Chief. So thank you for weighing in.
I'm sorry.
No, it's okay.
Oh, thank you so much.
Thanks, you guys.
Our co-host Breezy said the same thing. Didn't even know that was an opportunity that someone could go through. So thank you for your service.
Thank you so much.
And thank you for calling in.
Okay, peace.
Peace. Thank you for watching, everybody.
And Chief, the check is in the mail.
Goodbye, Earl.
That was amazing.
Yeah. Speaking of peace, you said something I heard you say key in on was that you're a peace officer, right? We're not law enforcement officers. We are peace officers, and I've never heard
Anyone say that?
anyone in law enforcement ever say that. I love that. So what I want to ask is, with you being a peace officer and being one of those individuals who is in that field for the right reasons and really with a heart, trying to be compassionate, we all know that everybody in law enforcement just don't have that heart and that compassion and that and what he's saying is needed. It's so few. It's more. I feel like it's a lot of people in law enforcement that are crooked, and let's just say it like that. And you being someone who wasn't, how big of a challenge was that, and what kind of conflicts did you run into and have to power through in order to be successful in your career still, with opposing forces on the force with you?
Well, as a peace officer, you have to be willing to make the hard choices when you have a partner or you come upon a scene and you see that things are going wrong with other officers and the treatment of your citizens. You have to be able to stand for that citizen and say something about it. You have to be able to then get involved and stop it. And we have a lot of things that are happening now with certain kinds of programs that have 12 points here, 10 points there. All I can tell you is this: Ohio has a peace officer training academy. Peace officer training academy. That's through the Attorney General's office, and we call it OPADA. And there are standards that you have to go through, and you have to learn through your various law enforcement academies to how to treat people, how to do your job as peace officers.
Right.
And so that needs to be reinforced. And not only does it need to be trained and reinforced, it needs to be accountable to supervisors. Because I always say, and I've done a lot of investigations involving police officers or agents. And I always say, when I find an agent or a lower ranking member doing something wrong, I always say, who made an atmosphere so comfortable
For them to, yes.
Stay right there, because that's that good stuff.
There we go. Yes, there we go.
And we can get more into it, because again, I don't want to miss the family component, because people need to.
Yeah. Definitely.
Because you are a family man. But we got a caller on the line. People are weighing in.
Yes.
This morning, this is Work It Out Wednesday with DJ Breezy, Leah Renee, and the will be new elected. And we're going to say it, because you're still going to stay in law.
And he's saying vote. We're going to touch on that too.
Absolutely. So who's our caller? They hung up? All right. So real quickly, before we get away from it and they call back in, who's the family man?
Well, and family man is this, and people ask me a lot of time, what give you the drive? Because I'm the president of Toledo Buffalo Soldiers.
And we're going to talk about that.
Okay, so yeah.
And what gives me that drive, I lost a 10-year-old son, my firstborn son, to one gunshot to his chest.
Expect the unexpected.
Wait a second.
Oh, my God.
You lost a child to gun violence. Gun violence.
Can you let them know the year, Sheriff Mack?
Yeah, it was in 1982. He was 10 years old.
Oh, my God.
My first son. So that's a driving force for me to do all I can to bring peace to our community so that a parent doesn't have to go through that.
Yeah.
And I'm a member of a club that we don't want to be a member of. And there's so many of us out there, and it's growing. And so something has got to be done with that. So when you talk about a family man, that's just where I am. The family is the key to all of this.
Yes.
Thank you for calling the all-new Rise and Grind Morning Show. Who's on the call? What's up, Ed Mac? Thank you for weighing in. Thank you for grinding all the time, Mac. What's going on, man? How you doing?
Not bad, man. Just enjoying the show.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Ed Mac.
Yes.
So what's your thoughts? What's your
OG?
Yeah.
Got Sheriff Mac on there.
We gonna claim it. Yep.
I just seen everything going down. Figured I'd throw it out there and let him give a good political response.
Speak a little louder, Head.
I just wanted to have on his agenda to help curb police brutality, because I don't think no one can end it, but what will he have in order as far as checks and balances to keep his police force under some type of watch, or just to keep them honest?
Okay. Well,
Great question.
Right. The key to that is continual dialogue. Because we have problems on both sides. We talk about the police a lot, and I don't know if we'll get into this, but we have to look at how we treat police.
Yeah.
As a, not so much as a community, but as an agency. We put those police officers through so much. They have to do so many things every day, and they need mental health at times. They need to be looked at time as well.
Yeah.
And our citizens need to understand the responsibilities of police officers, because we have problems on both sides. And sometimes I tell our citizens, we need to look in the mirror, because your reaction to a police officer can escalate a situation.
Right.
And we have a program that's called What to Do and Stop by Police, and it goes through several things, involving police responsibilities, citizens' responsibility. And a lot of people don't like to hear this, but the main thing is that comply now, complain later, because you definitely will not win on the street. And so and so we go through a litany of things to kind of talk about that. And sometimes people ask me, they say, well, Mr. Mack, we see incidences where you comply and you still get hurt.
Yeah.
You still lose your life.
I was just thinking that.
The one of the things I say, continue to comply, because if you don't comply, it gets worse.
Right.
But then you got to hold that police officers in that police department accountable for every incident. Sometimes we look at the broader perspective of it, and we look around the country, and this is happening over here, this is happening over there, but it's not happening in our community. And so we carry that baggage to say, this could happen here, so let's attack this, let's march against this. And so, well, my thing is this: look at every incident separately.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because if you look at every incident separately, you can find the problems and we can fix it.
Yeah.
And yes, we have bigotry that's in policing. We have racism that's in policing, because they carry that baggage. There's perceptions that police officers have, especially of black men, that when they approach them, if they're not versed in cultural competency, they can mistake a movement for something. They can just like Floyd, Mr. Floyd, George Floyd died not too long ago. Man, you would not find a better diverse of officers where this man lost his life. You had a white officer, you had a black officer, you had an Oriental. So when people talk about we need more black officers, no, we need training. We need to reinforce that training. And I tell you this, I may not can change what's in your heart. I can sure change your behavior. But you need supervision that's going to be accountable to watch that.
Did you get that response, Ed?
Definitely. One of the strongest part was comply not, complain later.
Yeah. Yes.
Because it saves your life.
Yeah.
And I think that's what our people need to understand, that there's you have to know how to effectively handle a situation. I think another thing we don't do is follow up. We have a bad encounter with an officer and don't say anything. And we talk about it amongst each other, but no one's following. Like the same way we get upset when we buy something at the store, it don't fit right. You quick to call in the customer service.
Right.
You want your refund. We need to have that same attitude when it comes to our lives and our experiences with police officers.
Out Wednesday.
Very true, because if there is a particular officer or particular officers in a specific district or wherever that have a habit, they are those officers who are bad and they're out there doing things that they shouldn't, and they have a habit of doing that and using their position of authority and power, abusing it. If people, like you said, actually followed up and made a report, then that stuff is reported, and then there's documentation. And then if something does happen down the line with that officer, now it shows, he's got this many incidents where people had called, so I agree with what you're saying.
Yeah, and we should follow up too. Like, hey, what happened with that?
Yeah.
Absolutely. Head Mac, man, I'm proud of you. We're proud of you right here on the 419 Grind. I thank you for weighing in. Head Mac, I'm sure that Sheriff Mack will be reaching out for you, because he has already said if elected, he's going to have a community team from all walks of life help him lead Lucas County, which is so dope, and we're appreciative of that. I see Julian Mack has even weighed in here, Mack, and I know you're watching on the live.
Well, let me
all the Mac right. Together for this.
Let me just say this too, because when we look at the police officers across this country, they do a wonderful job, and here's why. You must know, we make over 1 million stops a day, 1 million encounters a day. Some 13 to 14 million stops a year. Very small, minute of those go wrong. And a very small, minute of those, somebody loses their life.
Yeah.
And so overall, police officers are doing a wonderful job. That's why I say we need to take the incident, specific incidents, specific officers, and that's what we address. And that's what police chiefs, I'll tell you, no police chief want to see their officer go out and kill someone because they're on the hot seat because of whatever. But my whole thing to that, again, when I look at police officer conduct, I look at who made an atmosphere so comfortable that they do those things in, and it always points to supervision.
Wow. Thank you. And this is the all-new Rise and Grind. Head Mac, we appreciate it. We got to go to break, so we're going to close out. We'll be right back after these messages. This show is brought to you by Hot Box Bistros and Lima Humidop, right here on the all-new Rise and Grind Morning Show.
What's going on, everybody? This is Lance Self, is who I am.
And I am Arlinda Self.
And we are the Selfs, and here to present our show called Self-Explanatory.
Yes, it's our podcast presented by 419 Grind.
That name just has a ring to it. Self-Explanatory. I feel like we're about to just be explaining a bunch of shit. This is true. I feel that's what it's about to be.
Well, I think we're going to talk about a couple things. We're going to talk about marriage, of course.
Okay.
We've been married, 2 years now, right?
2 years, we've been together for 8.
Right. Mm-hmm. Oh, my goodness. It's a long time.
Y'all going to ask what took so long.
What did take? You know what? We'll get there.
Self-explanatory.
We're going to talk about blended families.
Yeah.
Praying for your spouse. Gender roles. Living with family members. Cheating. Raising kids. Family upbringing. Being there for your spouse. Finances. Being a wife and a husband, trying to be together and be individuals at the same time, which is one of the things.
It took a while.
It's taken a while, but
it has
it's the fun part. We're learning that.
That's what marriage is.
It's a process.
It's a life journey. It's not an overnight thing. Yeah, because I know there's a lot of days where I'm trying to be individual. I get on your nerves because of my individual ways. I can tell you one thing for damn sure though. Definitely get on my nerves. It'd be a lot. You definitely get on my nerves, but I love her.
I get on your nerves?
Yes, it's possible. You do a lot. What's wrong? What's the problem? What's wrong? Hey. I am Lance Self.
And I am Arlinda Self.
And this is the Self-Explanatory Podcast, presented by 419 Grind.
Listen on Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, Spotify, and wherever podcasts are heard.
If you're tired of church as usual and you're looking for something invigorating, exciting with passion, then the Greater New Psalmist Baptist Church, 3251 Glendale, is the place for you. We are a people that's determined to occupy all streets while cultivating cultural change. The only thing's missing is you. Meet us at 3251 Glendale Avenue as we continue to be relevant and occupy all streets while cultivating cultural change.
Don't you ever want more? Till then you'll never get it. I've seen the way you look at life like a spectator. On the outside, you gotta get in the game sometimes. I listen to the way you complain about what you don't like. And I get it, but I understand it ain't always what you think. People only show you their best selves on the internet. And all that glitters is still not gold. You gotta go for what you know and make a way. So all I'm trying to say is, don't you ever get tired of being ever so tired? Don't you ever want more? So then you'll never get it. I'm not trying to criticize you, babe. Only wanna inspire you, baby. I see the world inside you, babe. But only you can do what you can do for you. So don't you ever get tired of being ever so tired? Don't you ever want more? So then you'll never get it. Don't give up, don't give up, don't give up, my babe. Don't give up, don't give up, don't give up, my babe. Don't give up, don't give up, don't give up, my babe. Till then you'll never get it. Don't you ever get tired of being ever so tired? Don't you ever want more? Till then you'll never get it. Don't you ever get tired of being ever so tired? Don't you ever want more? So then you'll never get it. Don't give up, don't give up, don't give up, my so tired.
You're hearing Don't Give Up. It's right here on the all new Rise. It's morning. Of Lucas County with DJ Breezy and Leah Renee. Work it out.
Intern Dewan, I love having these young people here as our interns because Dewan always has really great questions, and he comes from a place. He comes from a place where there are many young men and women his age that feel just like him, and so I just love when we hear from him and he gives that feedback.
He does.
Absolutely, and this is the all new Rise and Grind where we share. If we get a chance, share Earl Mack. If you see vote, and the lines are crazy right now. The last couple of days with in-person voting, people are going to the polls. But we want to kind of end and wrap up the family person of Earl Mack, and you were sharing a story about the loss of your 10-year-old son to gun violence. Man. And you also are a husband and a father of other kids. I actually went to school with your oldest daughter at Tuskegee University. Big shout out to all our HBCUs. And didn't know that was your daughter until coming back to Toledo. So again, the family man.
Absolutely. And like I said, that's extremely important because that's where young people growing up they get their guidance and so forth and so on. But as you said, I just love my daughter. She went to Tuskegee.
Okay.
Became a veterinary medicine.
Wow.
She's a doctor today, and I have a son. I was fortunate to have another son, Ramel, and he's a car nut. He's into cars. He's building his second muscle car. And he's traveling around the country, promoting cars, muscle cars, and those kind of things with a company. So and the wife, like I said, she's my guiding light.
Yes.
And thank you for playing a song for us at what it was 1 o'clock in the morning.
Way back when.
Oh yeah.
And again, Earl, I just thank you for being who you are and committed to who you are. Bree, you asked the question as he alluded to when he came in with his hat. And what the hat stood for, and a lot of people don't know. What is a Buffalo Soldier, Bree?
Yes, I mean, it sounded. I'm like Buffalo Soldier.
Right.
For one, we don't have anything Buffalo related in Ohio, so we're usually Mud Hen, Glass City.
Right.
So then when you said that, it stood out to me, and then like I'm intrigued and I want to know more. Like, what is it? Is it found here?
Right.
Just give us some more information on that.
Well, Buffalo Soldiers came from the Reconstruction period. If you remember, after the Civil War, we entered into a Reconstruction period for the United States to bring both the North and South together. Mm-hmm. We also had to reorganize the military, and so out of 60 regiments, 6 of those regiments were all black soldiers, and those were the soldiers that really won the West. We talked about, you see these movies that John Wayne and all that stuff on the even one of the Buffalo Soldiers was Bass Reeves. Bass Reeves was one of the first marshals that we've ever had, and he was a Buffalo Soldier. But the Buffalo Soldiers, they done a lot of community stuff. We call it. They were the first marshals, as I just said. They were the first border patrol. They protected this country. They fought all the way up to World War II. Mm-hmm. If you heard about the Harlem Hellfighters, World War II probably wouldn't have ended if it hadn't been for what they done. Tuskegee Airmen, they were first created out of the Buffalo Soldiers. And we can go on and on. If you talk about San Juan Hill, you hear the story of San Juan Hill and how Teddy and his Rough Riders took San Juan Hill. Well, Teddy and his Rough Riders was on a hill called Kettle Hill. And this is documented. And he was never on San Juan Hill. The 10th Cavalry Buffalo Soldiers took that hill. Once they took that hill and got things settled, here comes Teddy Roosevelt, because the media followed him around. There's a lot of racism in those days, and they gave him credit for that. It's in writing. So we go into schools nowadays to then tell that history about Buffalo Soldiers, to kind of set the history straight.
Okay.
We do a lot of community service nowadays as Buffalo Soldiers across this country. There's probably It's probably about 30,000 of us. The National Buffalo Soldier Organization. They got other Buffalo Soldier organizations out there. We do a lot of community service in our community. If you know much about Toledo Buffalo Soldiers, we just finished up. When the COVID hit and people lost their jobs, we partnered, and I love those partnership and relationships, coalitions, because we partnered with LMHA, Lucas Housing Authority, and we went to several of their housing areas, and we fed people with the off the food trolley truck. We have a big trolley of a partner of ours that is a rolling kitchen.
Oh, wow!
And we take it right in the heart of a community. We cook hot meals for our children and family. And the latest thing we did, we with the COVID virus, we feed them, and we have COVID kits that have masks in it, hand sanitizers, and all kinds of stuff.
Amazing.
And that's what we do in our community, and that's the short of the long, because we'll be here all day again talking about Buffalo Soldiers.
Who is some of the people that serves with the Buffalo Soldiers? So I understand, if I heard you correctly, it protected its environment. The Buffalo Soldiers were formed out of the military, per se, and to protect its community.
Correct.
Who are some of the people that now serves as Buffalo Soldiers from Toledo, other than yourself?
well, you talk about Miss Dorinda, Caleb. She always got to keep her happy.
Yes. Let's see, a smart man knows to keep the woman around him happy.
Tell me about we need to have a segment about how strong black women are too, but we'll talk
wait
about
a second.
that later.
That's
we
right.
needed you what was that, 2 weeks ago?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. I love it.
Paula Hitz Hudson is
former mayor and state rep.
Right. She's our legal eagle. She takes care of all of our legal matters.
Okay.
We have Mr. Reeves. Which is Bass Reeves is his great grandfather, which was a Buffalo Soldier and the first marshal.
Wow.
He's one of our members, and who do we have? Badger we call Mr. Taylor. We have motorcycle names, and Badger was a sergeant of a tank unit, and became a master sergeant where he taught tank mechanic. We have him,
and just newly, Sheriff Mack, one of our proud sponsors of the 419 all new Rise and Grind morning show,
is Mr. Fred Lefevre.
Fred Lefevre, and who's your chaplain?
Oh. Dr. Bree.
Dr.
Man right there.
Shout out to Fred and shout out to Dr. Bree. I didn't know that Fred Lefevre was a part of the Buffalo Soldiers.
Yeah, absolutely.
He's our secretary in our PIO.
Oh,
he takes care of
I love Fred
all of that
Lefevre.
stuff for us.
So he thank you, Fred Lefevre, for sharing. President Earl Mack of the Buffalo Soldiers with us, but also, like you said,
Hall is the chaplain.
He is was just nominated and received that.
How is it appointed or voted or
right? Like how do you even join? Do you have to have military experience?
Well, how did the chaplain get? Who picks the chaplain?
As a president, I have the awesome responsibility that I can appoint you.
Oh, awesome.
Oh, okay.
So he was appointed. I got to meet Dr. Bree a few months ago. We just hit it off, and so he supports us big time.
Yeah.
He supports our candidacy, and he's just an awesome preacher. We call it now the stuff we do, Marty. We call it taking it to the streets.
Yeah.
And that's what it's all about, taking it to the streets.
As Bree said, how can someone be a part of it? How does that process look?
Well, we have riders, which we're a motorcycle organization, and we have members that are not riders. So if you read about the Buffalo Soldiers and you want to be part of that organization, and you want to do that great history, tell the great history, learn that history first, tell the great history, and do community service. We love people that love to do community service.
Great.
And you have a clean background because we deal with a lot of kids.
Yeah.
And so we can't have anybody that have felons and those kinds of things. So if you desire to be a Buffalo Soldiers, come see me.
All right.
All right.
And www.ToledoBuffaloSoldiers.org. Find all about us.
That's amazing.
And it's interesting because he still used Brian Lee. He's still with that www.
I actually have a photo of me and you Buffalo Soldiers.
Wow.
And at the time when I took the photo, I didn't even know. I wasn't educated on who the Buffalo Soldiers are exactly. But it's funny now to know, like now knowing who
What
you
it
guys are and
is.
what you do. And I
Yes.
have a photo. I used to work for Channel 13,
Oh,
and I went
okay.
out with Joe Nugent for the big fight that Robert Easter Jr. had at the Huntington
Correct.
a few years back, and I was out there with them and met the Buffalo Soldiers
yeah.
and took a picture with them, and yeah, they were all great people.
Oh,
Look
yeah,
at you being a part of history. Didn't even know.
I didn't even know.
Right now, like the phone lines haven't stopped. This is the all new Rise and Grind morning show. Who's on the line?
This is Julian Mack.
Hey,
Good
Julian.
morning, Julian.
Good morning, Jay. What's up? Good morning.
Good morning, good morning, good morning. And I wanted to say good morning to my cousin Earl, too. And I wanted to make sure people knew we weren't the same person, right?
Okay, so y'all.
And so I just wanted to I'm so proud of I'm proud of Lucas County,
Yeah.
right, for having for being at this moment, right? We've never had a black sheriff before, right? And not only do we have a black candidate for sheriff, but we have because not all skin folk are kinfolk, right?
Right.
Say that.
We have somebody not all kinfolk are kinfolk, right? But Earl's been somebody who's really deep in our community,
Yes.
right? Like he was talking about the work that they did with COVID. I think about the work that I do as an activist, right? And I look at some of the work that Earl's done, especially during the COVID, and the Buffalo Soldiers have done. I mean, that's where he's reached out to the people who are hurting the most, right? The people who have it the toughest, and that's just so important. Like that's just so important. He's really got a heart for the community. So I just wanted to. I'm just grateful.
You just wanted to be on the show, man. You just wanted us to hear your voice.
To be on the show.
You just wanted to be on the show.
I wanted to be on your show.
We love it. We love to have you
That's
on.
what's up, Jay.
I also wanted to ask a question.
Please do.
Right? Because now I think a lot of work that I end up doing as a community activist, for those of you who don't know, I'm a Black Lives Matter organizer, right, is getting us deprogrammed, right, from this colonial white supremacist mindset that we're indoctrinated in from a very young age. And I think when we think about public safety and we think about, reforming of police and when we look at how things can be, there's a lot of work that has to be done mentally because of how much has been done to us historically over since our time we've been here and how policing has always functioned.
All right.
And so my question to Earl is, when we reimagine public safety, right, and when we think about the future of what public safety looks like, and really this can be for all of y'all on there. This is a topic I just want to throw out there. What does safety reimagined look like to you all? Right, obviously, I want to hear it from Earl, but I'd love to hear it from everybody. What does safety reimagined really look like and feel like? All of you.
Well, we'll definitely give Earl the green light to answering that, and we can dig back into it. But let's give Earl an opportunity. What does safety reimagined looks like? Public safety from your lens.
Well, if I understand the question correctly, it spells out accountability.
Oh,
accountability for our own actions first.
Okay.
Because safety starts at home. Really. We talk about the police all the time, but safety starts at home. So and then part of that piece is collaboration. You know, you cannot get anywhere if you don't have collaborative effort and partners out there to get you there. And I say this story all the time, and this may make some people frown, but that's okay. I have pictures at home as we were going through slavery. I have pictures of a young female slave hanging from a bridge with a white female hanging right next to her. She was being called a nigger lover. And so
the unexpected.
Right. And I have pictures of a black man that's hanging from a tree in slavery days, and half his body is burnt with a white man hanging next to him, and he was called a nigger lover. We cannot get to where we need to get in this country, in this world, without all of us working together, because we didn't get out of slavery by ourselves. Somebody had to help us get out of it, and they're still helping us today. Look at Black Lives Matter. Most of the people I see marching are not us, is white. White.
Yes.
Yeah, that's very true.
And so when Floyd's death happened, it's not only did it send a shockwave in this country, it's in a shockwave around the world. That people all of a sudden now see what we've been going through. But it takes us working together, and that dialogue has to keep going all the time. When you see Earl Mac signs out there, you'll see signs in yards that got Trump signs in it. I
have.
Right, and you see signs. There's a reason for that, because I am a people person.
Yeah.
Right.
And I want that's inclusive. That's why I believe in coalitions of everybody. I want to hear everybody. We're going to work this thing out together, because we're all in this together. And the last thing I'll say, Julian, is that look, we take things so serious. This earth, some people say this earth has been here 5.5 billion years with a B. We only here 79.5. So what does all this mean? We're not even a drop in the bucket. So I say, let's all get together while we're here. Make it work for everybody. Make it better for our families, because we all have something in common. I don't care who you are. And so that's what peace looks like to me. That's what security looks like to me.
Thank you so much. And Julian, thank you for weighing in. We definitely look forward to having you on the show. And just thank you for grinding with us this morning, my brother. You hear me?
Yeah, man.
Thank you so much.
I definitely hear you. And I just want to encourage, look, this election and having a candidate like this doesn't come along very often.
Well said, my brother. Well said.
We can't miss this one. We got to show up for Earl. It's really important, y'all.
Yeah,
it's really important. All right, y'all.
All right,
I'm gonna go back to Facebook and listen in. Peace, y'all.
So, Trees, can we get into that? Because I think it's important for people. I know we had our voting conversation not too long ago.
Yeah.
And we have some people who are not voting for the presidential election, but you can still vote and exercise your right to vote, and you are a primary example of that. So can we get some information on when to go vote, when the elections are, for when to, come out and show for you, and how people can support?
Correct. Well, right now we're in early voting.
Okay.
So every day the early vote is down on I believe it's 13th in Monroe. So that's open from 8 until 5 every day, and I think as we get into the weeks, it's even open longer. So go to the Secretary of State's website and you'll find out those hours. So vote. The general election is November 3rd.
Okay.
And so I think we're gonna have a lot of people that voted before November 3rd. And so if you want your voice heard, if you want to be heard, go vote. I see so many, especially our people. How dare you tell me you don't vote, especially if you black? We died for that vote. Yes. Our ancestors died for you to have the right for that. So do you want me to have your say so? You don't want to vote? Then I'll tell you what to do.
That's right.
And that shouldn't be. Everybody needs a voice. I don't care who you vote for. You need to vote, and you need to play your part in being a citizen of this United States of America, because that's where we are.
Yes.
And go vote and vote for and be informed.
Yes.
When you go vote, just don't vote because it's all Democrats.
Right.
I'm voting all, or it's all Republicans.
Yeah, a lot of people they don't. We got to educate ourselves.
Right.
Absolutely.
You vote for the person that's going to do you the most good for you, your personal life, your family life, and your community.
Correct.
Yeah. I was watching the Breakfast Club this morning, and Charlamagne the God was saying basically the same thing. He was saying, I vote because I love to complain. That's what he said. I'm going to complain, and I'm going to keep my foot on Biden's neck. He said, I'm voting for Biden, but I'm not voting for Biden ignorant to the fact of the things, you know, with the things in his career that he's went with, and the thing, you know, basically he said he doesn't agree with everything that Biden has for him, but he's going to vote for him and he's going to keep his foot on his neck. And he's like, I can't complain if I'm not going to go vote.
Absolutely.
So if you want to, you know, if you're going to complain and sit and talk about how, you know, oh, this is happening, well, go vote, period.
And I'm glad you asked that question, Bria and Leah, weighing in that, because that kind of forms the lane that we want to get in as voting for you as sheriff of Lucas County. Number one, what's the difference, Leah?
Yes. Yeah. What's the difference between a sheriff and a police chief? Because most people, a lot of people don't know. They're like, well, I don't even know what a sheriff is or what they do. Are they part of the police squad? Are they not? Like, what is the difference between a sheriff and a police chief, and what are the roles and responsibilities of each?
Well,
in short.
Yeah, right. I know it's a lot.
The sheriff is the top law enforcement official, peace officer in the county.
Over the police chief?
Well, the police chief works for the mayor, is appointed by the mayor. You elect the sheriff. The sheriff is elected for your protection and security of this county. Mm-hmm. And obviously a police chief is not elected, and so that's the big difference. And so that's why I'm very excited, you know, to and hopefully be fortunate, you know, to become sheriff, because you can help set the tone with everybody in the county and other police departments. And one of the things that we're looking at, and I'll just say this real quick, if you've seen the governor's speech not too many weeks ago, he talked about finding funds to fund additional training and those kind of things, right? Well, we got 88 county sheriffs in Ohio. And so, and I wrote him a letter, and I said, why would you then want to fund this police department, that police department, or another police department? And you got 88 county sheriffs, fund the 88 county sheriffs. They be the fiduciary of those funds and of that training. So, because we need consistency across the board.
Right. Yeah.
And let's have one agency that's responsible for giving training throughout the whole county.
Yes.
That's consistent with OPATA, that's consistent with, you know, with federal guidelines, and let's all be on one
same page,
playing field.
Yeah.
Consistency across the board, and I think our security of all of us will increase tremendously.
One of the things that I appreciate about our deputy sheriffs is they are a little bit more approachable, a little bit more friendly. When you see those black uniforms, I've had a checker pass. I've had a chance to encounter the sheriffs from being locked up. When you, and we'll talk about here in the 419, Lucas County, when they transport you from underneath that ground from the county to the judge, they don't have firearms on you. So their customer service has to be on point, because you're taking, and I remember it was a female deputy and a male, but when we went up, it was a male and female. There were 4 of us, and we're being transported to hear our fate from the judge. If I come back down mad or frustrated, that female deputy does not have a gun on her. So when we get booked in, the people that's performing the duties in the county jail do not have necessarily firearms on them. So they have to be a little bit more hospitable in their service. And that's why I do appreciate our deputy sheriffs. But my question would be, how, if you are elected, how could you help police relationships from abroad as a sheriff? You talked about coalitions, Earl, but you also said as a Buffalo soldier, you can't have a felony. Some of our felons, I'm a convicted felon, and you're sitting on our show, the #1 urban show in the country. So are you willing to utilize those that have checker paths, those that may not look like what society wants, to find solutions that help those communities?
Right. Well, and that felony thing now is not the Buffalo soldiers. We can't. That's a lot of school policies. We can't not take a felon into schools or have them deal with children most of the times that we are working with.
What about child support felony? Because you can get a child support felony and you still can't take someone into a school because of that.
Well, and again, that's not a rule we made.
Okay.
In order for us to be able to assist our community, and as you know, my chief, we've adopted Martin Luther King's Boys Academy, LP Stewart's Girls Academy as 2 of those schools.
Yep.
And that is not our policy. Now let me backtrack because we've had felons or that's off paper that have been Buffalo soldiers. There's certain things that they can't participate in. Though.
Okay, and that's where we were going as a sheriff, and you talked about coalitions. Serving some of the communities, we got to use the people that live in those.
Oh man, you're absolutely right. A matter of fact, I got to say this.
You got excited.
Right. Yeah, I am. We were putting up a sign, an Earl Mack sign, at a daycare not too long ago, and we were putting up the sign, and a young lady made a U-turn in the street and get out. She comes up to me just as a young lady. She was part of one of the organization, one of the gang organizations, and she walked up and she had tears in her eyes. She said, "Are you Earl Mack?" I said, "Yes, I am." She said, "My mom and my auntie has told me so much about you. We are looking to have somebody bring us together because we are tired of the violence." What did I tell you? She says, "We need someone like you to help bring us together." And I said, "Look, young lady, give us your name, send us an email or something because we want you part of this coalition. We cannot make it in this city, in this county, in this country without having those folks who are part of that be part of the solution." One of the things I'm looking at in a coalition is having moms in a coalition. You know why I want moms in a coalition?
You got two of them here.
I can't tell you how many times I've arrested a young kid. They'll say, "Don't call my mom, you call my dad." Because every time every time the mom showed up on that scene to get that kid, we had to pull that mom off. Yeah. And moms are pipelines. Mm-hmm. So in order to help solve this, we need to have everybody included, especially our moms, in a coalition that we're going to sit back and talk about what's going on in our community. How do we resolve that, moms? Because we need your help to resolve that and get on to resolving that problem.
So Bree and Leah, when y'all hear that, someone who will sit in the seat of power to bring in communities together from all walks of life, non-judgmental, in a safe place, what does that say to you? What does that say to you, Leah?
I'm glad to hear that because, and I understand. I think what us as parents, like you said, it's a collaborative effort. We trust, in our community. I stay in the inner city, and we're in a time where I won't even send my son to walk to the store because I'm scared that, I've seen it happen. I've been a mom who has interjected when I've seen the undercovers and the police officers react to children in a certain way because they fit the description. And that's our reality as a mother with Black boys. So hearing someone that is at least trying to bring together a force or, a group of people to help combat some of the common issues that we deal with and that we are, as a mom, that's what I think about, and I try to, like you said, when you get those calls, the kids say, "Don't call my mom." And that shows you that the children still know that there's right and wrong. I think people forget about that. And everyone will say, "Oh, it's all the parents. It's all the parents." Sometimes it's a single mother. Sometimes it's children of two-parent households. And they still act out. They still have behavior issues. Yeah. But when they're being picked up, it will be a comfort level knowing, oh, it's someone that's actually trying to help. It's someone that is not going to look at my son as a target or as, hey, you know what, I know their parents or, I can treat this kid a certain way. So it's comforting to me to know that.
Right. And then the other thing, and I'll just say this real quick, I promise you.
It's all right.
Is that the other thing we have to do, and we are going to play a major role in this, is put economic opportunity back into our community.
What that mean?
Yeah,
what that mean? What
do you mean by that?
That could be general, or what is your plan when you say economics back into our communities?
Let me tell you what we're working on now with Pathway for Successful Leadership is a program that's called SELF. It's self-empowering for kids. I'm also a member of the Rotary Club of Toledo. A lot of businesses are
if you don't know what the Rotary Club of Toledo is, just Google it and you'll see what he's a member of. And so the money.
Right. Yeah. What we're doing is we have a program now where we're going to marry that certain parts of that business community in the Rotary Club with this program where kids, and we used to have this, Montrese, and thank you for for your community service in the basketball deal, because we're going to be talking about this. Is that where we're going to teach kids how to empower themselves, how to have that respect for themselves, what having a job mean, and then we're going to take 4 of those hours and put them in a business because we want them to see how this business is being operated. We want them to get, to find out what that work ethic is and we got this from a couple of places, and that's why I'm so glad I was born and raised in this community, because at Scott High School, I was in the in-school work program. In-school work program, in my senior year, I went to school for half a day. The other half of the time, I was at Chrysler. And as soon as I graduated, Chrysler hired me full-time.
Oh, that's amazing.
So you was getting the check early.
I was getting the check early. And do you know how it feels for a young person to be able to buy their own what have you?
Oh, yeah.
And I know the first paycheck I got, we had never ate steak as children. My mother took me to the store and we bought a steak and we ate steak that evening. I felt so proud.
So proud of
yourself. I know that's right.
And so
did you cook it?
No.
but it feels good when you able to come home and help mom or help the household. DeJuan, our intern, who's in college, he talks about that all the time. So I'm glad to hear you say that. Leah, when you hear about possible opportunities, if elected, here are some of his plans. I actually think, ladies, that we probably could have a monthly or quarterly sheriff report right here with us on different. And even if he's not elected, he still get a chance to be a part of educating us on how to move in doors that's opening, Leah. So when you hear what the newly elected Earl Mack will be, as people are flooding the polls and they're voting, what kind of inspiration does it give you to continue to work and working with someone like law enforcement? Because the other side of that is, are you working with the police?
Yeah. Right.
You work. We get that in the hood. We get that in the inner city and some of the community. Oh, you working with the police? Hell yeah, I'm working with y'all. See, we got the sheriff in here. Y'all seen? Put the camera on him. Hell yes, we working with, because relationships matter.
And that makes no sense to me, because y'all, what you mean working with the police for a positive outcome?
What's your why?
Now, it's different if you doing dirt and you ain't for the right reasons when you working with the police. But y'all be next to homeboys that y'all know ain't doing no good. So what's the difference?
Well, I can tell you this, and again, real fast. I sound like a preacher. Sorry, Dr. Bree.
We love it.
Right? Is that we're going to work with all kind of folks, our young folks, the people that want to work, the people that want to see violence stop, because this young lady, she wants to see violence stop, and so and Dr. Bree had some gang members on this show not too long ago. They want to see violence stop, but I tell you what, if you're not going to be part of the solution and you create violence, I'm coming after you. I'll tell you that right now. We're going to have some peaceful protests. We're going to have some peaceful talks, but if you're not going to conform, I can't afford for another drive-by to kill somebody's grandchild or kill somebody's grandmother. If you cannot conform, the other part of this, we're coming after you.
All right, so Earl, since you opened that up, what the hell do we got to offer a young person to get involved in? Because first thing, we want to shut everything down. So then when I act out or I do something crazy, now y'all want to lock me up. How about being a part of the solution to creating opportunities and activities from the county's perspective with funding to the city perspective? Because Earl, what do we offer a 18-year-old to 36-year-old in as a social life, not just work, home, and school? What do we offer them to get involved in, and then we want to arrest them?
Well, and that is a law enforcement issue that has to be dealt with. Which again, putting together coalitions to address those kind of things is the way we are going to go. You know, we even talk about a new jail, right? You hear, what are you going to do for the new jail? The first thing we're going to do is that personnel, just like our community, we have to work on personnel issues before I stick somebody in a new jail. So the same thing with our community. Let's get those young folks involved in this. I can tell you right now, because one of the things that you're going to see me do with unions, because they have, not only do they have funding out there, they have programs that our kids are not available to have. They're not available to be in those programs because
access.
But a lot of it is because of our kids. Our kids don't want to go there. They've opened the door and we can't get those kids in there. So me as a sheriff, when I walk into LP Stewart Girls Academy in this uniform, and thank you, Sheriff Tharp, because Sheriff Tharp got us involved in LP Stewart. And when I sit down with these young folks, the sheriff sit down with you and say, look, here's what we have. It's Scott High School. We have this program. I want you to be involved in that. I'm going to see you every day. You know what's going to happen? they're going to start trusting you. And they're going to start saying, that's what we want, Mr. Mack.
Yeah.
We want to be involved in that, because a lot of this has to do with kids not doing what they should be doing like that is trust. They don't know what's going to happen. So this program that we are creating is going to create that trust, and it's going to give them something other than a pipeline to prison.
And I'm glad to hear that, Leah. And I will say this, Earl, because I'm not big on programs, and you know that we've had it, because programs end when ain't no money. But you done built a relationship that will people trust you, Leah. Now when the money gone, now you ain't here. So now I'm about to act back out again.
Well, look at empowerment, though, because that empowerment, you're going to create your own jobs. You're going to create your own program. See, you guys are not old enough to remember this. I remember Door Street and all of our businesses and them hiring our kids, because I worked for Wayman Palmer. I swept the floor.
Big shout out to Wayman Palmer.
I had a job.
You had a job.
And I just talked to Paula Hudson about this, because we have all kinds of land down there now. So why not create businesses where you can walk to work? Nobody has to be driving cars and trying to find transportation.
Yes.
And those are some of the things that we are talking about in this program, involving the Rotary Club and anybody else that's going to want to do something, not just listen and talk, but do something.
So wait a minute, Earl, because our intern wants to ask a question. No, and I'm going to kind of pass him the mic because he's engineering. But when he hears that there is going to be opportunity for them to get involved in, so they don't have to be confronted with law enforcement not listening to him, what does that, because he asks this question all the time, and I can speak loud. So hear Sheriff Tharp say that there's going to be opportunities created. What's your thoughts process to some of your friends?
It's working out. Yeah. It made me happy so that people that don't do exactly what I do, they have a chance to get out the hood and have money in their pockets and opportunities like this, and they don't have to be in the streets doing what they doing.
Absolutely, because we've heard from gang members that said, well, Mr. Mack, our problem is what's going to replace me making money in the street, because right now I'm making money in the street.
Keep it real.
And I don't want to lose that. And my answer to them and to two young men not too long ago is that a couple of things. Every day you need to look over your shoulder as dealing your product. You're not only looking at the police looking at you, you're looking at your adversaries looking at you, and we got
and your friends.
They call them the ops.
And some of your friends,
and even friends and family,
and your friends. So why not? So why not do something positive, move you away from that, and you start out doing that positive thing, making your own money, growing in that, and then we get man. We spend trillions of dollars a year in this country as black community, giving it to other folks. Then what we need to do, we need to create, like young men like you, get that avenue, get that pathway going where you can be what you want to be. And we need to start empowering our young folks to have businesses so that they start hiring each other. So that's
right.
My answer to you.
Okay, so what would you say to the person that say, I'm gonna go to Mickey D's and make $9.50 or whatever the minimum wage is right now, but on the streets I'm gonna make double that?
Well, when you go to Mickey D's, you're not looking over your shoulder. You almost guarantee to get home at night. But then when you go to Mickey D's, do the very best you can do, because who knows? You may become a regional manager. You may become an area manager.
You may have your own franchise.
You may have your own franchise, and that's what you look at.
Yeah. See, I think what the problem is with a lot of young people, they don't see the bigger picture. $1 billion corporation, you know what I mean? So just because you're flipping burgers today doesn't mean that you can't own your own franchise and be, a 6-figure, 7-figure person 10 years from now. But you have to work. It's what we talk about every day. Nobody's gonna give you anything. So if you're sitting back waiting, thinking, oh well, nobody done nothing for me, ain't nobody gonna do nothing for you. You have to put in that work. We talk about this every day. It's the grind. So there's nothing wrong with flipping burgers. I mean, I'll tell you, just to answer his question, to someone who may have those thoughts, why should I go to Mickey D's and flip burgers when I can make double that in the streets? I'm gonna tell you why. Because when you're out in the streets making that double, like he said, not only are you looking over your shoulders, but when you catch that case, because you will, if you don't die first, once you catch that case, where's all that money going? It's going to your lawyers. It's going back to the feds. It's going everywhere but in your pocket, in your bank, in a 401k, or to your children. It's not creating generational wealth. Now, there are some smart dope boys who from our, our age range who took their money, Juvie J, to put him out there. He was one of those guys who was in the streets, and he took his money. He made smart moves, and now he's in real estate. He has his own towing trucking company. He's doing big things. So at the end of the day, there's an end to that. Either you're going to go in the grave or you're going to go behind bars. There's no way around it. So really, you're not making more money in the streets as you would be on a job, because if you put all that time and effort that it takes to be a dope boy, which, yeah, it takes a lot of smarts, a lot of effort. If you put that into something positive and legal, you can only imagine what you'll get out of it.
And I think we need to stop putting a cap on, I never worked fast food. I never had to.
I didn't either. I've never worked in fast food.
I started at Adams Cleaners at 15.
Too. Hey, me too at 15.
And then the program, like you stated, my senior year, because, I went to school, and in high school I had enough credits, and they had that program where I started an internship with the Toledo Port Authority downtown. And graduating from high school, since I already had an internship, I had a job, a county job, coming right out of high school.
See?
I had OPERS, 401k, and those opportunities were created. So the opportunities are out here.
Yes,
you don't have to conform to fast food.
Yep.
You don't have to be a janitor. But it also it's that goal. So even if you got in at McDonald's for that time, and it's something else you want to do in life, keep that goal in front of you. And use that money to fund you getting towards that goal.
That's right.
Start getting around people. If you're trying to get out the hood, you don't want to sell drugs, stop hanging around the people who sit up at home all day.
Exactly.
Yeah,
you basically just said what I was going to say.
Okay.
I was going to promote more, what's that word? What's the word I'm looking, like hobby jobs, like do what you like to do.
Yes, absolutely.
Turn what you like to do into
turn what you like to do into revenue. That's what I was going to say.
And it's what you said, Earl, I heard you say. We give them the opportunity and we help them figure out what is it that you love to do. Just like we had Gnarly Designs in here, our boy Denzel. If you love the camera, explore that.
Absolutely.
Watch YouTube. Get you a camera. I mean, I got my first camera for $400 off Amazon. You know what I'm saying? And then obviously, as you grow, as you get better, you get and as you get paid, you get better equipment and whatever. If you're a graphic designer, you know what I'm saying? Pick what you love to do and turn it into a revenue.
And don't be afraid to ask questions, because we got people people quick to ask for a handout. Let me get $20. Let me get a ride. Let me get that same question, and you have the audacity and you have the strength to ask that question. Go ahead and ask someone that you see is doing what you like to do. If you see you got somebody you done came across that's on the camera system and you want to do that, hey, would you can I work with you? You willing to put me on? And actually show up and be consistent.
That's the key word, is consistency, because it sounds good, but if there's other distractions, and that's why social media in today's time, we got to be careful of what we see, because I can have a mission, but I can get distracted by my conditions. Yeah. And that's what you stayed on. What we like to do, because this is one of the most engaging and interactive podcasts, Earl, is that we just want to say thank you to people like Julian Mack, Lancel, Frank Wright, Melanie, Mr. Rubin, Steve, Sandra McPherson. She's weighing in this morning.
Oh, there she is. Yeah.
Yep, she's weighing in this morning. Hold on.
Miss Rhonda Riley.
We see TJ, of course.
TJ, Kendra. We have so many. Felice, Jasmine, Alden, Alexander with Rocket Nutrition. If you want a good smoothie, go on Door Street right across from UT. Get a good smoothie from Rocket Nutrition. Also want to say Frank Wright.
Hey, Frank.
Daryl Parr, Chad Baker.
DP.
Chris Edwards.
My boy Chris, what's up?
Hey, thank y'all for wanting. Terrence Chapman, Mir, Mike Wells. So, because we don't want to hold you, but what I do want to say, and we want more of this, and that's why I don't want to. It's pay-per-view. We don't want to give it all to them, and there's so many more questions and so much more conversation to have. But Earl, what would you say? We like to do this here at the 419 Grind. All new Rise and Grind morning show, Working Out Wednesday with Bree. Who would you just like to thank along the way? Who would you just like to put your arms and love around as you journey into this new role of success? Who did you like to say, hey, I thank you and I love you?
Oh yeah, well, my wife number one.
Yes,
Because
These women love when
I love it.
you make them perk up when you say when you address the queen.
Oh yeah, because I couldn't do this if it wasn't for her support, and
That's right.
both my daughter Armia, and then Ramel, because they were instrumental in me making this decision.
Yeah.
And then all those supporters we have out there. Man, we have so many supporters out there, and I would just like to thank everybody for that. And Dr. Bree is giving us some guidance.
Yes.
He's on here too. He say that's my man.
Yes, he gives us a lot of support over here at the 419 Grind. So yes.
And then other ministers. You know, there's
absolutely.
There's ministers. You know, I speak with constantly, such as Minister Brock. Which is doing things in the inner city, and other ministers. I just wish that our religious community would just come more together.
Yeah.
Because
come together to do what?
Come together on in one voice. Instead of your program and this program and this program over here, we can consolidate those programs. And although I know you don't like programs, but we can consolidate those programs and do something instead of just being something.
Right. Oh, I love that.
But I know personally from speaking to some people, sometimes, everyone has their different, walks of life. But just because if you don't want to work hand in hand, you can still use that other program that you know of as a resource, because everyone can't touch everyone. So what you may have started, and you don't even have to have a connection with this program, but you can say, hey, we may not be a fit for you, but I know such and such.
Yeah.
Great point. Bree.
About
Great
that
point.
networking.
Agree. Okay.
Yep.
Great point. Bree, Leah, are there any final points? Because we would like for you, even if you're not necessarily elected in that role, you're going to continue to serve in the capacity that you do, president of Buffalo Soldiers, and the other.
And ride my Harley all across the country.
Ride your Harley.
Right.
So dope.
And you're going to assist in other legal areas of our law enforcement here, because you are relied on a lot of different fronts. Leah, is there anything else that you would like to ask as we bring this to a close? Because I can see the sheriff report coming on the all-new Rise and Grinding show that we are a platform for you to reach communities and families.
Absolutely.
I don't necessarily have any more questions for you, but I do just want to say thank you, Mr. Earl Mack, for the service that you've done in this community, that you're still doing. You are being very impactful. Just to hear the gentleman that called, speaking on your behalf, police chief, that you've impacted. That was huge. That lets me know that you're not just here talking to talk. You've walked the walk, and we've seen it just from listening to people, who, again, like we said, Dr. Bree is a sponsor of ours. He speaks very highly of you, and then other people speak very highly of you. And now just sitting here meeting you personally and hearing your story, hearing your journey, I'm very appreciative and grateful that we've had someone like you in our community to put in that work and to continue to put in that work. And I just want to say thank you. And we're here at the 419 Grind to support you and whatever you're doing in the community.
Well, thank you. I'm humbled.
Yes, this has been a wonderful experience.
Yes.
You
I'm
have
honored.
us. Anytime you need to come in and you got some things you want to say, you got a PSA, we're our family and we support any good cause. And I want to thank you for educating us, because that's a huge part.
Yes.
A lot of times I wouldn't have known a lot. So I'm leaving here today with some jewels I can drop on my children, and I can share this. Or when I'm having other conversations with people, I'm able to discuss this. Like, well, did you know we have such and such with things that align to what you do? So thank you so much. And listen, I'm looking forward to seeing you on the billboards more often. And
and you got my vote.
For real.
and it's so refreshing to hear, ladies, and that's why I did this strategically to have y'all both on as mothers. But Earl, I am going to hold you accountable to creating those coalitions, using mothers right here to help form some of those ideas, to bring their sons in as you form coalitions, especially the Mothers Coalition. Let's just kind of give a name that they can bring their sons into the conversation. Absolutely. And their sons can visually see a sheriff giving them opportunity, and their moms knowing the sheriff. That's so huge. If
Correct.
When y'all young men see that my mom can call the sheriff.
Yeah.
And she can say, and we can use that in some of our household. Keep talking, I'm going to call the sheriff on you. But even for Dewan, a young man who has an influence, he loves this graphic design, he loves music, and you got a chance to have a real conversation. And he can touch you, he can reach out to you. That's what I really enjoy about you most, is that you are obtainable. Even if you are a great listener. You have came and got me in some of the deepest trenches. We had some in the morning conversations, and I thank you for being a part of our executive producer who started this studio. Also says, love the inspiration. Jesse Coleman, thanks for your knowledge, Mr. Earl Mack. TJ Johnson, one of our local barbers who just lost, as Leah alluded to when we first started the show.
I don't know that he just lost her. It was an anniversary.
Okay, anniversary of losing his child,
Yes.
a baby. TJ is on here saying he just dropped some bars. Grandmother Rhonda Riley.
Yes, love her, Mama Riley. I love you.
And there's. Can people still get your signs? Maybe we can do that. Are there still signs available?
Most definitely.
Absolutely.
Where can they pick up signs if they would like to get the Earl Mack signs? Where can they pick those signs up at?
Well, the campaign office is at 1515 South Burn, Suite 109.
Right across the street from the Southland, because I had my son take a picture at the headquarters. So when we're over there for the Financially Lit fair, we can go right across the street, right next to, what's the wing place right over there?
I think it's Wing Station, but
Wing Station,
it's right next door to Doc Watson's.
Doc Watson, the headquarters is right next door to Doc Watson. There's a beauty salon right in that plaza too. You can pick up yard signs, those that's listening and weighing in, and get your yard sign. Do you need any other assistance that you need from us?
Oh man, yes we do. Volunteers, we're always looking for volunteers.
To do what? Because what I'm coming to help you with.
To go.
what I'm doing now?
Money.
Okay.
No, that's right. Hey, we say it every day. Hey, drop some on our cash app.
Money.
Now.
Okay, so with that being said, like Leah said, how can people make a donation to your campaign? How can they get in contact with you?
Well, they can go to right. Earl Mack for Sheriff. That's www.earlmackforsheriff.com, and you can scroll down and see where to donate. You can scroll down and see where to volunteer, because we're always looking for volunteers, especially with the polls. Right now, we have early voting, and we need people to stand, at that site for us to pass out pamphlets and those kinds.
With Earl Mack on there?
Yes.
You got a 3X shirt? I'll be out there.
I'll get you one.
All right.
So, any other platforms? You're on social media?
Right. We're on social media, both Twitter, Facebook. I have to ask Julian all this stuff. I'm seasoned.
Julian, make sure you get that info out there.
Yes.
And it's in there. He put it there
and
already. He put it already.
He put it right as soon as I said it.
Shout out to Julian.
Shout out to Julian.
Went straight to it. So just kind of a final recap. Sheriff Mack, what's your thoughts of today, sharing the jewels? What's your take back?
Well, I thoroughly appreciate this. I have young people all around me, and that's what keeps me young. Is you guys keep me young,
right.
And you know how much love I have for you, Montrese. Just thank you for allowing me to be here. I'm not a politician, so I don't say those things that politicians say.
Yeah,
I speak from the heart, because sometimes people go, well, Earl, you can't say it. Get out of my way. I'm going to say this.
Oh, thank you.
And so,
Expect the unexpected.
I know that's right.
Oh, yeah. Well, hey.
We don't see that much.
I could have said a couple other words, too.
I know that's right. I just want to say just a couple of my final thoughts real quick before we go. Just want to say to the listeners and the viewers, like, one thing I heard you say the most that stuck with me was you said it's not just about the police. We talk about the police a lot, and we do. We have to take accountability.
Absolutely.
We as a city, as a community, like Montrese and like they have said, we're in this position now where this is the first. You can be the first. Mm-hmm. Will you be the first if you are elected in and so you will be the first black sheriff in Toledo in this community?
As far as I know, but I always say I just happen to be a black man as sheriff.
Right, but it's key for a lot of us, because like I said, not just about you being black, but also being from Toledo, being in this community, growing up in the neighborhoods, and we have to understand that we are powerful. Our actions are powerful.
Absolutely.
We have to hold ourselves accountable too. So if we are able to get Earl Mack into office, let's not just go vote and then leave it at that. Let's really get involved. Let's be there as a support. Let's hold ourselves accountable. And that's it.
And that's what Bree said, that follow-up.
Yeah.
And I love that you made that a point. Like, if we're putting people in office, and you said Charlamagne the God on the Breakfast Club said, I'm going to hold Biden accountable to some of these things that he say. I think that was so huge, Bree, that you said the follow-up. So when we talk about Working Out Wednesday, what's your follow-up? In Working Out with DJ Breezy, what is your follow-through? What is your follow-up? And Bree, that is so huge. I want to thank both you ladies for being a part of the conversation. I want to thank DeJuan. We're also going to treat you to lunch today to Hotbox, our major sponsor. Hotbox Bistro, located downtown.
I love to eat.
332 North Erie. Let them know you are receiving a complimentary lunch on behalf of us, Hotbox Bistros, and want to thank our sponsor, Greater New Psalmist. Also would like to thank Lyman Humidop, the Joshua Treatment Center, substance abuse, mental health, and recovery services. If you need anyone, please just make sure you reach out to those, because now we also would like for some of the platforms that you know to be a sponsor of this show, because it's real people having real conversations with real actions. And we going to keep it in our lane. This is the #1 urban podcast. So we can say some shit that we ain't got to run off and say to nobody else, Earl. We can stay in our lane because we know how to reach us. Correct. And so thank you for that. Yes. It's the all-new Rise and Grind morning show, brought to you by Hotbox, Lyman Humidop on the 419 Grind podcast. Breezy, it was Working Out Wednesday with you.
Work It Out Wednesday. Each and every Wednesday with your girl, DJ Breezy. I love the team. I be wishing I'd come on with them every morning. I be tuned in at work.
We still working for you
I gotta work.
She got no facts given, and we have a whole network of shows. And as we end the show, as we always do, what's that heat?
Yes, we got a whole lineup of heat. Make sure you stay tuned every single day, because we got something for everybody. We have the Rise and Grind morning show, of course, Monday through Friday, 8:30 to 10:30. We have Executive Suite with Dr. Vic. We have 419 Grind with Jesse. Real Table Talk with your girl Leah, of course, and new episode today at 5. We got Self-Explanatory with Arlinda and Lance. Nothing But Net with Sandy Brown. Capital T with Tasha and Tanya. No Facts Given with our girl DJ Breezy.
Yay.
Cloth Talk with RC. HBCU Vibes with Treese. And we got Underrated Sports coming soon. So, man, like I said, we got a whole lineup of heat.
One-stop shop.
One-stop shop. And until next time, mwah.
Great show.